Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Arvind Educations or Arvind Biology Classes. Thanks for watching my videos. For more updates, please subscribe my channel Arvind Biology Classes or Arvind Educations. Today we are going to discuss about respiratory system. So, no organism survives without respiration because of respiration only energy is released, and that energy is used for all the life activities by the living organisms. So respiration is a catabolic process in which organic substrates are oxidized and energy is released at cell level. Okay, so let us see the balanced equation for this. C6H12O6 plus 6O2, it gives rise to 6CO2, 6H2O plus energy. That means when glucose is oxidized, carbon dioxide and water are produced. Along with that, energy is released. So how much amount of energy? 38 ATPs are produced out of 686 kilocalories. Okay, that means when one glucose is oxidized, actually 686 kilocalories of amount of energy is released, but we are able to utilize only 38 ATPs. We will discuss how these 38 ATPs are produced when we go through the mechanism of respiration. Okay, so respiration is a catabolic process in which organic substrates are oxidized and energy is released. So the substances which are oxidized during respiration are called respiratory substrates. Glucose, fatty acids are the examples. Okay, so in higher animals, respiration occurs in 4 steps. So steps in respiration we'll see, right? So first one is breathing. Second one is external respiration. Third one is internal respiration. And fourth one is cellular respiration. Okay, so in higher animals, respiration includes these 4 steps: breathing, external respiration, internal respiration and cellular respiration. Breathing is nothing but bringing in oxygen rich fresh air and giving out carbon dioxide rich air. That means inhalation of air which consists of more amount of oxygen, and exhalation of air which consists of carbon dioxide more in quantity. Okay, so that is breathing. Next, external respiration, the process of exchange of gases at respiratory surface. Means inside the lungs, inside the alveoli. Okay, so exchange of gases at respiratory surface in alveoli, inside the lungs, in alveoli, we will see the exchange of gases. So that is called external respiration. That means what you inhaled is containing more amount of oxygen, enters into your circulatory system, and from there carbon dioxide enters into your alveoli, so that will be expelled outside. That includes external respiration. Next, internal respiration. This is nothing but exchange of gases at tissue level. That means at cell level. Nothing but the oxygen which is carried by the RBC enters into the cell, and the carbon dioxide which is produced in the cell enters into the blood. That means when RBC, right, carrying oxygen into the cell, now for example if you consider this as a cell, so oxygen present in RBC enters the cell, then carbon dioxide which is present in the cell which is produced after metabolic activities enters the RBC. So this exchange of gases between the blood cells and the body cells, right, that is called internal respiration. So oxygen present in the blood enters the cell, and carbon dioxide which is produced in the cell enters the right blood, and which is carried back to the respiratory surface so that will be expelled outside. That comes under internal respiration. Okay, then finally cellular respiration. Actually this is the area where you will find oxidation of glucose, oxidation of respiratory substrates. Okay, this is the final stage where a organic substrate, a respiratory substrate is oxidized completely and energy is released. Okay, and this process occurs at cell level inside the cell. That's why this is called as cellular respiration. Okay, let me repeat. Respiration is a catabolic process in which carbohydrates or any organic substance is oxidized and energy is released. Along with energy, carbon dioxide and water are produced, which are sent outside. How much amount of energy is produced? We are utilizing only 38 ATPs, but actually when glucose is oxidized, we are going to get 686 kilocalories of energy, out of which only 38 ATPs are converted as chemical energy, which is used for our biological activities. Okay, and as I told you, in higher animals, respiration completes in 4 steps. The 4 steps are breathing, external respiration, internal respiration, and cellular respiration. So breathing is nothing but exchange of, intake of oxygen rich air and exhalation of carbon dioxide rich air. External respiration is nothing but exchange of gases inside the lungs. That lungs are made up of alveoli. So in alveoli, we will find the exchange of gases. Then internal respiration is nothing but exchange of gases at cell level. The oxygen which is carried by the blood enters the cell, and the carbon dioxide which is produced the cell enters the blood. So that exchange is called internal respiration. And finally, the respiratory substrates are oxidized at cell level in order to release energy. That is called as cellular respiration. Okay, then here, here glucose is burned to release energy. Okay, so I used 2 words. Glucose is oxidized to release energy, or glucose is burned to release energy. Actually, when respiration is compared with combustion, burning, okay, both the processes require oxygen, and in both the processes energy is released. But when we see clearly, when we observe clearly, there are some fundamental differences between respiration and combustion. So let us see the differences between respiration and combustion. So let us see the differences between respiration and combustion. Respiration is a cellular process. It is a cellular process. It is a non-cellular process. Combustion is non-cellular process, or otherwise you can say a cellular process. Okay. Then second, respiration is a multi-stepped process. Multi-stepped process. And combustion is a single-stepped process. Single-stepped process. Okay. Then it is a multi-stepped process. So naturally, several intermediate products are formed. Several intermediate products are produced here. Okay, here no intermediate products, no intermediate products. Okay, right? Then here energy is released at several steps. Energy is released at several steps. Here energy is released in a single step. Okay, next, respiration. For respiration enzymes are required. Enzymes are required for respiration. For combustion enzymes are not required. Enzymes are not required. Then what is required? Its ignition temperature is required. Okay, its ignition temperature is required, right? Next, energy is released in the form of ATP and some heat is produced, whereas energy is released in the form of heat and light energy. And here no light energy is produced. Right? Whereas in the case of combustion, light energy is produced. Okay, next, here generally no charring of the substance is observed. No charring of glucose is observed here. Okay, whereas in the case of combustion you are able to see charring of substance is seen. Okay, is seen. And then respiration occurs in the presence of water. Whereas combustion occurs in the absence of water. Let us see the fundamental differences between respiration and combustion. I said respiration includes oxidation, so it is a cellular process because this particular process is seen inside the cell. Okay, whereas combustion is acellular process or non-cellular process because it is taken place outside. And this is a multi-stepped process, right? Several steps are included when a glucose is oxidized. So naturally several intermediate products are produced. And here combustion, it is a single stepped process, so no intermediate products are produced. Okay, then I forgot to tell you one more. Here respiration is a biochemical process. And then combustion is a physicochemical process. Right? So that means this respiration is seen in biological organisms and some chemical steps are involved here. Where combustion is seen in physical environment, of course some chemical steps are involved here. And here in respiration, energy is released at several steps. Why? Because whenever there is a metabolic intermediate is formed, you can expect the formation of energy. So that's why energy is released at several steps. Whereas combustion, energy is not released, energy is released only in single step. Okay. For respiration, enzymes are required. Each and every step in oxidation of glucose is continued with the help of enzyme. So enzymes are required here. For combustion, enzymes are not required, but its ignition temperature is required. When we burn different substances, their own ignition temperature is required. So based on that, the things used to burn. Okay. So when respiration is completed, energy is released in the form of ATP and some amount of heat is released. and whereas in the combustion, energy is released completely in the form of heat and light energy. So during respiration, there is no light energy is not produced, but during combustion, light energy is produced. And in the case of respiration, there is no charring of substance is observed. Charring is nothing but whenever we burn something, it gets blackened first and then it started catching fire. For example, when you burn a paper, you see the paper started becoming black, right, and then it catches fire and it is continued. So there is no charring of substance is seen in the case of respiration when glucose is burned. Okay, but charring of the substance is seen clearly during combustion. Okay, and respiration definitely occurs in the presence of water, whereas combustion is seen in the absence of water. Okay, so these are the fundamental differences. Okay, as I told you earlier, when you see in generally respiration and combustion both will utilize oxygen, and in both the processes energy is released, but when you see clearly, when you observe clearly, there are some fundamental differences between respiration and combustion. And during the process of respiration, that means in cellular respiration, when a glucose molecule or fatty acid is burned or oxidized, several intermediate products are produced and then energy is released at several steps. You see, when oxidation of glucose is going on, at each and every step of glucose oxidation, energy may or may not be produced. Okay, and even for the oxidation of glucose in the initial stages, some amount of energy is also utilized. We have to remember this. Okay, and then once you understand this, let us see respiration is of two types: aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Let us see the fundamental differences between aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. I told you respiration is of two types. Respiration is of two types: aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Okay, so let us see the differences between aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. See, AER, air, means air, presence of air. Okay, an means absence. AER, air. Okay, bios, here bios means life. Okay, that means aerobic respiration is the respiration which occurs in the presence of oxygen. Aerobic respiration proceeds in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration, an means absent here. Anaerobic respiration, absence of air. It is proceeded in the absence of oxygen. So aerobic respiration occurs in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration occurs in the absence of oxygen. Okay. In aerobic respiration, glucose is completely oxidized. Whereas in the case of anaerobic respiration, glucose is partially oxidized. As glucose is completely oxidized in aerobic respiration, more amount of energy is released. Here, less amount of energy is released. Okay, more amount of energy means how much? 38 ATPs are produced here. Again, out of 686 kilocalories. We have to see the difference. Okay, so 38 ATPs out of 686 kilocalories only. Okay, so we need to calculate this number exactly when we go through the mechanism of aerobic respiration. And whereas in the case of anaerobic respiration, 2 ATPs are produced out of 56 kilocalories. Okay, then aerobic respiration, the end products are, in aerobic respiration, end products are carbon dioxide and water, whereas in anaerobic respiration, end products are ethanol and carbon dioxide. This is seen in the case of yeast and plant cells, whereas lactic acid in muscle cells. End products of aerobic respiration are carbon dioxide and water, and end products of anaerobic respiration are ethanol and carbon dioxide in lower organisms like yeast and certain bacteria and plant cells, whereas lactic acid is produced anaerobically in muscle cells. Okay, next, for aerobic respiration, mitochondria is required. Whereas for anaerobic respiration, mitochondria is not required. Why? Because in aerobic respiration, glycolysis, Krebs cycle and electron transport system, terminal oxidation, electron transport system, oxidative phosphorylation, these three steps occurs in aerobic respiration, whereas in anaerobic respiration only glycolysis and anaerobic breakdown of pyruvic acid is observed. Okay, right? Anaerobic breakdown of pyruvic acid is observed here, right? That means aerobic respiration occurs in mitochondria. So in mitochondria, Krebs cycle and electron transport system, these two steps occurs in mitochondria. So for that particular reason, mitochondria is required for aerobic respiration. Glycolysis, which is common for both aerobic and anaerobic respiration, for which oxygen is not required, and glycolysis is the process which is seen in the cytoplasm of the cell, so for which mitochondria is not required. After glycolysis, pyruvic acid is produced. That pyruvic acid is also broken down in the cytoplasm of the cell only, so that is the reason why mitochondria is not required for anaerobic respiration. Okay, that means aerobic respiration is partly seen in cytoplasm of the cell and partly seen in the mitochondria, whereas anaerobic respiration is completely seen only in the cytoplasm of the cell. Okay, then when we see the equation C6H12O6 in the presence of oxygen, it leads to production of 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus energy is released. And when you see anaerobic respiration, C6H12O6, there is no oxygen here. Directly it will produce 2C2H5OH plus 2CO2 plus energy. Right? We can also write C6H12O6 gives rise to 2CH3CHOH COOH plus energy. This is lactic acid. Okay, so this is ethanol, and this is lactic acid. So lactic acid is produced in animal muscle cells, whereas ethanol and carbon dioxide are produced in lower organisms and plant cells. Let us see these differences clearly. I told you respiration is of two types: aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration. The name says very clearly, aerobic respiration proceeds in the presence of oxygen. It occurs in the presence of oxygen. And anaerobic respiration occurs in the absence of oxygen. Here what happens? Glucose is completely oxidized. In aerobic respiration, glucose is completely oxidized. You see, a 6-carbon compound, right, is completely converted into carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so as the substance is completely oxidized, more amount of energy is released. Okay, so how much out of 686 kilocalories we are utilizing 38 ATPs. Okay, whereas in the case of anaerobic respiration, glucose is partially oxidized. Okay, glucose is partially oxidized means here you see a carbon 6 compound is converted into a carbon 2 compound. Okay, C2H5OH, that is ethanol, and CH3CHOH and COOH, this is lactic acid. Means glucose is not completely oxidized, it is partially oxidized. That is the reason why less amount of energy is produced. As less amount of energy is produced, that means out of 56 kilocalories, only 2 ATPs are released here. Then, when you see the equation, you will understand it very clearly. The end products here are carbon dioxide and water. Energy, I told you already. And here, when you see the end products, right, end products are ethanol and carbon dioxide in the case of lower organisms and plant cells, and lactic acid in the case of muscle cells. Okay, muscle cells, during vigorous exercise, when the rate of the oxygen utilization is faster than the oxygen supply, oxygen utilization is faster than oxygen supply, then there is an oxygen depth is established. When an oxygen depth is established, it leads to the production of lactic acid. Okay, so that lactic acid is produced in muscle cells. Okay, when oxygen depth is cleared, that lactic acid is later on converted into carbon dioxide and water, and then oxygen depth is cleared. Okay, right. Then for aerobic respiration, mitochondria is compulsory required. Mitochondria is commonly considered as powerhouse of the cell, where the important oxidation of glucose steps is seen. So for aerobic respiration, mitochondria is required, and it includes glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and electron transport system. For anaerobic respiration, mitochondria is not required. Why? Because Krebs cycle and electron transport system is not seen here, only glycolysis occurs. Anyhow, glycolysis is seen in the cytoplasm of the cell only, right? And after glycolysis, pyruvic acid is produced. That pyruvic acid is broken down in the cytoplasm only. So that is the reason why mitochondria is not required. And equation for aerobic respiration, equation for anaerobic respiration. We need to see the mechanisms clearly of aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration which occurs in the living organisms. Okay, so now when you are concentrating on aerobic and anaerobic respiration, actually I told you respiration, aerobic respiration, the sites for aerobic respiration is mitochondria. So we need to see the structure of mitochondria. Mitochondria is a cell organelle, exhibits different shapes, but commonly seen in the form of sausage shape. And mitochondria is a bimembranous cell organelle which is seen in cytoplasm. So this is outer membrane and this is inner membrane. The inside foldings of mitochondria, these are called cristae, and inside to the inner membrane, in inner compartment, this inner compartment is completely filled with gelatinous substance called matrix. Then on cristae you are able to see finer particles, small particle like structures. These structures are called elementary particles. These are called elementary particles, are also called as oxysomes. Okay, we are seeing the sites of cellular respiration where the actual breakdown of glucose occurs. Glucose is completely oxidized inside the mitochondria, and mitochondria is a bimembranous cell organelle seen in the cell. And this particular mitochondria possesses two compartments, outer compartment and inner compartment. The space which is present between outer membrane and inner membrane, this is called outer compartment, and the space which is present between the inside this inner membrane, that means where matrix is located, this is called as inner compartment. Inner compartment is completely filled with gelatinous substance called matrix, and inner membrane possesses several inside foldings. So these inside foldings together called cristae. On cristae you are able to see small such type of particles are called elementary particles or oxysomes. Each elementary particle possesses a spherical head and a stalk-like structure where you are going to see the important terminal oxidation of glucose. Okay, so this is an elementary particle or oxysome which is attached to the inner membrane of that particular mitochondria. Okay, right? Now once you understand the structure of mitochondria, let us see the mechanism of cellular respiration. Mechanism of cellular respiration. Okay, why? Because whenever you are talking about respiration, respiration includes breathing and oxidation of glucose. Respiration includes breathing and oxidation of glucose. So breathing, different organisms have developed different respiratory organs through which they respire. That we will discuss after some time. Whereas there is one common step which is common for plants as well as all the animals, that is oxidation of glucose. Okay, so let us see the mechanism of that cellular respiration. Respiration which occurs at cell level. This is the process where glucose is completely oxidized. So let us see that particular mechanism of cellular respiration. This is completed in 3 steps. One is glycolysis. Second one is Krebs cycle. Third one is electron transport system, ETS, and oxidative phosphorylation. Oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, so entire oxidation of glucose includes 3 steps, that is glycolysis, Krebs cycle, electron transport system, and oxidative phosphorylation. Glycolysis occurs in cytoplasm of cell. So this occurs in cytoplasm of cell, and Krebs cycle occurs in mitochondrial matrix. Okay, and electron transport system or oxidative phosphorylation occurs in mitochondrial elementary particles. Mitochondrial elementary particles, that is inside the oxysomes. Okay, glycolysis occurs in cytoplasm of cell. Krebs cycle occurs in mitochondrial matrix, and electron transport system and oxidative phosphorylation, the final step, is seen in mitochondrial elementary particles, nothing but oxysomes. If you assume this whiteboard as cell, this is the cell membrane. For example, when you assume like that, and if this is the cytoplasm, okay, and this is one cell organelle, that is mitochondria. Let us assume like that. Then you see the first step, that is glycolysis, is seen here. This is in the cytoplasm, glycolysis occurs, right? And you will get some XYZ end products. These end products are now carried into mitochondrial matrix, and in mitochondrial matrix the second step is seen, that is Krebs cycle. Okay, and then after this second step, again some end products are produced. Now those end products are carried into elementary particles, and in elementary particles the third step is seen, that is electron transport system and oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, so in cytoplasm glycolysis occurs, and in Krebs cycle Krebs cycle occurs in mitochondrial matrix, and in elementary particles, right, the electron transport system or oxidative phosphorylation occurs. Okay, so let us see the mechanism which is involved in cellular respiration, and we'll try to see the production of, we'll try to calculate the production of 38 ATPs out of 686 kilocalories, okay, in a stepwise manner. Why? Because I told you initially, respiration, cellular respiration is a multi-stepped process which involves several metabolic intermediates, and let us see those intermediate products and where energy is produced in the second part. Okay, thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel Aravind Educations or Aravind Biology Classes for more updates. Thank you.